I still remember the moment I got the message. It was 2:17 a.m., and I was lying on the floor of my cousin's one-bedroom apartment in Bogotá, scrolling through job boards I didn't qualify for. Then I saw her post. Looking for a live-in caregiver in the U.S., I will sponsor your visa. Spanish speakers welcome. My heart stopped. I stared at the words like they were glowing. I was 22, desperate and stupid enough to believe it. Her name was Claire Bennett. She had an American flag in her profile picture and a bio that said, "Retired nurse, caregiver advocate, Christian." She replied quickly, kindly, professionally. Said she had a son with a chronic condition, needed help managing his medications and meals. She offered room, board, and visa sponsorship. Said she'd even cover my flight. I showed my cousin. He frowned and told me it sounded too good to be true. I didn't care. I said yes. She sent me documents, a letter of invitation, a fake job offer on what looked like real letterhead. I didn't know how to verify any of it. I printed them, took them to the embassy, and somehow got approved. 2 weeks later, I was at the airport with a used suitcase, $100 in cash, and my mother's silver necklace hidden in my bra. Claire picked me up in a silver van. She wore big sunglasses and perfume that smelled like powder. She hugged me like we were old friends. "You poor thing," she said. "You must be exhausted." I nodded, smiling. The ride was long. Trees, silence, flat roads. We passed no stores, no lights, just empty fields and rusted fences. When we arrived, it was dark. The house was huge, but not new. It had chipped paint and wind chimes that clattered too loud. Inside, the furniture was covered in plastic. She led me to a small room at the back. No windows, just a twin bed and a wooden chair. "Just for a few nights," she said, "until the paperwork goes through." She locked the door behind her. I heard it. I didn't sleep. I laid awake staring at the ceiling, replaying every choice that got me there. The next morning, Claire brought me oatmeal and tea. She said her son was still sleeping. Said he didn't like loud noises. "He's sensitive," she whispered. I never saw him. Not that day. Not the next. Not ever. She gave me chores, dishes, laundry, cleaning bathrooms that were never used. I asked when we'd go to the consulate. She smiled but didn't answer. That night, she took my passport. Said it was safer in her filing cabinet. I knew I had made a mistake. But I didn't know how big. The phone in the house didn't dial out. My cell stopped working 2 days after I arrived. She said there was no signal out here. I tried to use her laptop when she was in the shower. It was password protected. I checked the windows. Nailed shut. The front door needed a key, and I never saw her without it around her neck. One night, I pretended to be asleep when she came in. She stood there, watching me, breathing. I felt the air shift. I kept my eyes closed until I heard the door click again. The next day, I asked about her son. "He's better," she said, resting. Her smile never reached her eyes. On the 6th day, I found a photograph. It was stuck behind the dresser when I moved it to sweep. It showed Claire, but younger, and another woman. The date on the back was 2003. The name under it said, Joanne. That night, I asked her who Joanne was. Claire's face stiffened. "Old friend," she said. "Died in an accident." Her voice was clipped, cold. She took the photo from my hand and left the room. I didn't see it again. The next morning, I noticed something new. One of the hallway walls had a small door, like a crawl space. It was padlocked. I hadn't seen it before. I touched the doorknob, cold metal. I leaned my ear against it. Nothing. Just silence. That night, I heard footsteps. Slow, deliberate, not Claire's, heavier, measured. They passed my door, stopped, then continued down the hall. I opened the door a crack. No one was there. I tried to stay calm, to focus. I had survived worse. But something about this house felt wrong in a way I couldn't name, like it didn't want me to leave, like it was watching me too. On the 7th morning, I tried to leave. I waited until Claire went out to check the mailbox, her routine around 10 a.m. I slipped on my shoes, heart pounding, and tried the back door. Locked. I ran to the laundry room. The small window had bars. The front door? No chance. I thought maybe the basement had another exit. I crept down the stairs, trying not to breathe too loud. The air got colder the further I descended. The basement smelled like bleach and metal. There were shelves of cleaning supplies, boxes with no labels, and a mattress on the floor, stained and ripped. On the far wall, I saw something that made my stomach twist. A wall of Polaroids. Dozens, maybe hundreds. All women, all different. Most of them looked scared. One photo was torn down the middle, the face missing. I heard the door at the top of the stairs creak. I froze. Claire's voice rang out. "Are you down there?" I didn't answer. I looked around for a place to hide. Found a cabinet, crouched inside, barely breathing. She came down slowly. Her footsteps paused near the photos. She hummed something, a lullaby. "I told you to never come down here," she said softly. Then silence. Long, heavy silence. When she left, I waited 15 minutes before moving. I snapped a photo of the wall with an old flip phone I found on a shelf. It had no signal, but maybe it had a SIM card I could use. I put it in my pocket and went back upstairs, pretending nothing had happened. That night, she gave me soup. "You look pale," she said. "You should rest." I didn't touch it. I poured it down the toilet later. I didn't trust anything anymore. I kept the phone hidden under my mattress. I spent hours scrolling through its saved texts and contacts. There was one name, EM. The messages were short, coded maybe. One just said, "Still breathing?" Another, "Last one didn't." I wrote a message, "Help, I'm in Claire's house, don't know where, please respond." I hit send, even though there was no signal. It didn't bounce back. I sent it again. And again. The next morning, I woke up to a vibration under my pillow. A reply. "Stay alive, I'm coming." My hands were shaking. Someone out there knew. That day, Claire changed. Her voice got tighter. She stopped pretending. She didn't smile. She watched me from doorways. She moved slower, like she had time, like she wasn't worried anymore. "You're smarter than the others," she said once. "But you're still here, aren't you?" I needed to stall. I faked illness, vomiting, headaches, told her I couldn't clean. She let me stay in bed. I heard her pacing at night, talking to herself, whispering names. I recognized one from the photo wall, Lila. She kept saying it. Lila was too loud, too soft, too trusting. 3 nights later, I heard something in the walls, scratching, movement. I pressed my ear to the panel behind the bed, breathing, muffled, human. I knocked twice. The breathing stopped. Then 3 knocks back. I nearly screamed. There was someone else. I wrote a note on a napkin and slid it under the baseboard. "Who are you?" The next morning, it was gone. In its place, a new one. I was Lila's friend. She disappeared. Help me. I cried silently for 20 minutes. I wasn't alone. That was hope. And hope is dangerous. I replied, "I have a phone. I contacted someone. We need to find a way out." Hours passed. Then, there's a door in the floor of the laundry room, small, hidden under the grate, locked. She keeps the key on a chain in her bedroom. That night, I snuck into Claire's room. She slept like a statue, still, cold. The key was on her nightstand, looped around a ceramic angel. I moved slowly, like fog. My fingers touched the metal. She turned in her sleep. I held my breath. Then she whispered, "Lila?" I froze. She didn't wake. I got the key, ran back to my room. My hands were trembling too hard to hold it. I waited until morning when she left to get groceries. Then I went to the laundry room, moved the grate, found the door. Rusted, thick, but it fit. The key turned. Click. The door creaked open into blackness. I turned on the flashlight from the old phone. It flickered weakly but enough to see. Narrow steps led downward. The air smelled like rot and chemicals. I climbed down slowly, one hand on the wall. At the bottom was a corridor. Concrete, damp, lined with peeling wallpaper like someone had tried to make it livable. There were rooms, tiny, cell-like. Some had mattresses. One had scratches on the inside of the door. Another had a shoe. Just one. In the last room, I found her. A girl, maybe 16. Hollow cheeks, eyes wide. She didn't speak, just stared. I whispered, "It's okay. I'm here to help." She nodded once. I gave her the last piece of granola bar from my pocket. She devoured it in seconds. I asked her name. She said, "Maya." I said, "We're leaving, now." She pointed to a vent at the back of the hallway. "Leads to the yard," she whispered. "Too small for Claire." I helped her crawl through first. Then I followed, the metal tearing at my clothes. We emerged behind the garden shed, gasping. I looked at the house. No sign of Claire. We ran. Through trees, over fences, barefoot and bleeding. We didn't stop until we reached the road. A car passed. I threw myself into the middle of the lane, screamed. The driver swerved, stopped. An old man. He looked at us, wild, shaking, filthy. He said, "Get in." I didn't question it. We drove for miles. I told him pieces of the story. He didn't ask many questions, just handed me his phone. I called the number from the flip phone's message. A woman answered. "Where are you?" she asked. I told her. She said, "We're on our way. Stay with him. Don't move." An hour later, 3 unmarked cars arrived. 2 women got out. Badges, agents. They took us into custody, but gently. Blankets, water, food. Maya clung to me like a child. We were taken to a safe house, interviewed, documented. Claire's name wasn't Claire. Her real name was Meredith Lang. She had changed identities 5 times in 15 years. No official criminal record, just disappearances. All immigrant girls, all promised jobs. None found. Until us. The basement was real. The photos, real. The documents I had, total forgeries. And the SIM card, connected to a known burner number used in 3 other missing persons cases. They found Lila's bracelet in a drain pipe. They found bones beneath the garden shed. DNA pending. Maya cried for hours. I sat next to her and held her hand. We didn't speak. We didn't need to. Over the next weeks, they pieced together a timeline. She targeted girls with no family in the U.S., little English, desperate for help. She promised visas, jobs, safety, then vanished them. Neighbors never asked questions. No one ever stayed long. She moved towns every 2 years, changed names, cut ties. She was a ghost with a smile. I stayed in the program, protected witness status, therapy, check-ins, new ID. I chose the name Amelia. It felt like closure. Maya got placed with a real family. One that understood her silence and her sudden screaming at night. I visited her often. We didn't talk about the house, not for a long time. Months passed. I started journaling. My therapist said writing would help. So I wrote everything. Every smell, every scream I never let out. Every minute I counted in that locked room. I submitted the story to an online magazine under a pseudonym. It went viral in a week. Then the calls started. Other girls, other stories. Some survived, some barely. Some were never found. One girl messaged me. "I thought I was crazy, but your story is mine. I lived with her in Nevada in 2016. That case reopened. More evidence. Meredith, Claire, whatever name she used, was finally hunted properly. They issued a national alert. The FBI called her a domestic trafficker. A predator. She was spotted once in New Mexico, then vanished again. They still haven't caught her. But her face is everywhere now. People know her name, her aliases, her tactics. Survivors are speaking. And me? I'm living, not hiding, not anymore. I work now with an advocacy group for immigrant women. We offer resources, screenings, real support. I tell my story at conferences. I show them the photo wall I recreated with victims' permission. I tell them, this could have been worse. For many, it was. I still check locks twice. Still sleep with a light on. Still flinch at perfume that smells like powder. But I'm here. I made it out. The woman who sponsored me wasn't real. But I am. And I'll never let her erase another girl again. Sometimes the most dangerous lies are wrapped in kindness. If you ever feel like something's wrong, listen to that feeling. It might save your life.